Hello students and welcome to 2016 W258, Global Health Disasters and Preparedness and Response. This term is going to be only the second time we're offering this course. We've made quite a few changes since last year, and most especially we've made changes to your very front home page. And mainly what we've tried to do is move some of the material into the LibGuide. That library guide is available to you after you graduate this program. But some of the material couldn't quite go in there. It's just a little bit too large. And so you'll be able to copy down whatever you'd like, save the links, especially the materials on the home page that have to do with personal preparedness. Now, some of you, about 4 or 5 of you, were in 257, and so they're quite familiar with this topic and they're comfortable with the material, but many of you have never taken this topic or this course before or anything like this. And so I've provided quite a few training materials, a little bit of background on all the various categories of disasters, and that's all here on your home page. Also on your home page is your inventory of case studies. That's important for you because several times during the term you'll be writing a case study and you'll need that material to give you some ideas, or you may even use that material. But in any case, that material is all there for you. We've been updating it. It's really quite exhaustive at this point. One thing I should bring up right away, because this happened last term in 257, and that is this. This is only 6 weeks. This is an enormous amount of material. We're covering the full breadth of interdisciplinary topic of global disasters. It's a huge topic. We cover the whole full paradigm of disasters, which is disaster mitigation, preparedness, response, and recovery. And in this course, we cover quite a bit about the governmental and non-governmental agencies that are involved. So whereas we don't have as much stuff about FEMA and Department of Homeland Security, those frameworks and those structures are still very important to us, and some of that material is here on this homepage as well, so that you can kind of catch yourself up if you need to. We also have this term some wonderful interviews. We go out and find people who are the heads of these global companies, organizations, agencies that are in charge of disaster response in various parts of the world. And they've been very gracious enough to let us interview them, and those interviews are here, including a few new ones. So I think you'll enjoy that. What else do we have planned for you this term? Well, definitely we always have the FEMA training so that you'll receive your ICS certificate. You'll be certified in 2 of these FEMA topics. We've given you a list of 3, but if you go to the link which we've provided, there are many, many other FEMA Incident Command Structure training topics, and you can pick and choose whatever you'd like. And certainly the students that were in 257 can go ahead and pick whatever they'd like. They're all basically worth basically about 3 to 6 CEUs, and you wind up with this wonderful certificate. You can add it to your CV. A lot of places when you go and apply for a job in emergency preparedness will ask for those certificates, and it really gives you an edge up. On that note, many of the students in the past, and I've been teaching disaster preparedness and response for well over, I guess it's now 14, 13 years, and many of them have gone on to jobs in this field of emergency preparedness, whether they're working for Department of Health, Office of Emergency Management. Some of them are working globally. Some of them are working in schools of public health. Some are working in other community settings. So it's something to keep in mind. Some of you get the bug right away and really love the topic and want to go on, and that's fabulous. And we're happy, by the way, always to write letters of recommendation, whether it's for a job or for additional education. But I hope you'll consider that as you go through the course and you are just enraptured by this topic and so stricken and taken with it that you feel this could be your life's work. I hope that you go down that road, because the field is just blossoming. It's exploding, expanding exponentially, and there are not enough people with training to go into that field who can really do the job. And I think coming in with a public health background is fabulous. Many of you I know have nursing backgrounds and medical backgrounds, and that is a great combination to merge with disaster preparedness and response. So keep that in mind as you go through the course. I hope you'll want to do that as I have done in my way, which is, as you know, disaster research. I'm one of a few, just not many of us, maybe I would say probably less than 100 in the whole country that really conduct research in this area. My particular area is the whole topic of preparedness and some of the psychosocial drivers of preparedness among the general population and the essential workforce, such as healthcare. And I found it a fascinating topic, and I hope you will too. I think you will. One of the things that I love about this course is there's so much fabulous reading. And if you love reading as I do, and if you especially love to read about disasters, we've put a list of books we'll be adding to it. It's a very nice list on your homepage that you certainly won't have time during this course at all. But maybe later on, after the course is over, after your whole MPH program is over, you might sit down and read some of them because they are just fascinating. And we're putting some very, very good historical texts in there that I think you would really enjoy. So take a look at that. We've also listed some very good films. And these are not, the run-of-the-mill kind of crazy films. These are very historically accurate types of films. So you can take a look at those. I think you'll enjoy it. But one thing's for sure, this is only 6 weeks. And so please, please set aside enough time. This is a very intense course. We have a lot of activities. I can't figure out a way to make it less and still have you learn the material. So please don't get angry that the workload's too hard or this or that. I've really cleared the decks from my end. I don't have any grants going in during this time. I'm trying to finish up all the papers I've been working on. I'm really clearing the decks because I read each and everything that you post and that you submit, and I grade it. And I'm happy to look at drafts as they come along, especially of your big plan, which is your big capstone for the course. But please, please understand this is a professional graduate level course. There is a lot of material. There's no getting away from it. And we have to cover it in a really short length of time. So try and set aside other things as much as possible and know that you will be spending several hours a week, especially on your writing, because writing as a competency is critical for all of you, for all professionals in our field. And so you'll be doing some précis writing. Those are very, very short, 1, 2, 3 paragraphs at the most. You'll be writing short briefs, not more than 1 page. You'll be writing case studies, which are also, I think it's 1 or 2 pages. You'll have one exercise where you'll be collecting data. Last term we collected quantitative data and analyzed it quantitatively. This term you'll be collecting some qualitative data to give you some skills. I was shocked last term to hear from several students that they had never practiced preparing a questionnaire or collecting primary data. That seems like a fundamental thing in public health. And so I'm trying as much as I can throughout this course and 257 as well to embed these skills, these very foundational skills that we all need as public health professionals. So you'll be doing that as well. So let's take a look at some of the highlights during the week. And by the way, I am particularly fascinated when I read about existential threats. That is the threats from asteroids and, pandemics, highly lethal pandemics. I find it fascinating to think about them. I don't know why, something weird, I guess. But if you're interested in that, there's also a special section about reading. I'm reading in this very specialized topic. I don't find it scary. I find it interesting to read about that. Lots of stuff in your homepage about FEMA. Also, wonderful links that we rely on quite a bit on how to find out where the latest pandemics are happening around the world, where terrorism is happening, all kinds of stuff about weather from the NOAA. All those links are here on your homepage, and they're also wherever you need to go to these sites for your assignments. They're also in each of your weekly modules. I put quite a bit in here about earthquakes. Several of you are from this area. Some of you are up further up in the Cascadia region, and earthquakes are a big deal for us. So there's quite a bit of material about earthquakes in your homepage. So included this letter of entree. We haven't had this problem since I've been at Berkeley, but when I was at Columbia, several of our students who were out there on the internet looking up sarin gas and all kinds of stuff, dirty bombs, they had some trouble at the airport, and so we've put in this letter of entree that you can take with you when you go to an airport if you think there might be some problems. I personally have never been stopped, which is amazing because I'm all over the internet looking at all kinds of stuff, but just in case. So on week one, as I said, we do get into the background, just a nice overview of all the different disaster types. We're using as kind of a focus point for our first discussion the Great East Japan earthquake, tsunami, and nuclear meltdown. This was a mega disaster. It's truly called a mega disaster, and it certainly was. I think that gives us a lot to work with in terms of trying to understand the disasters and the impact on the populations affected. As I said, you'll be doing a case study, and those are always a lot of fun. Typically on the reviews, a lot of students say that's the thing they enjoy the most. Amazingly, interestingly, many of you talk about the plan, which is hard to do, a wonderful document when it's done. We try and map them to your an area that you're interested in, a part of the world. Maybe it's where your family is from. We had a wonderful one last year on the Philippines, very high-risk area in terms of disasters. Some people write up a plan that is focused on where they work, and in that case, they meet, of course, with people who are in charge of emergency preparedness at their place of work, and they gear towards what is missing in the current plan. And so it's really great when we see these plans go and take on a life of their own and actually get adopted by the partners that they're working with. And in many, many cases, that's exactly the case, because you can imagine that there are not enough emergency managers in the world and very few plan writers. And our students are wonderful writers. And so they're thrilled to get this extra bit of help. So we really like the fact that it has like a dual use, right? So you'll be working on that plan starting in the very first week, because we definitely have learned our lesson and don't leave it till week 4 or 5. We work on it every week. There's another little bit. You're chipping away at it, chipping away. Before you know it, the plan is done, and it looks great. So last term we had a lot of people who needed extensions. They seem to have a lot of travel, a lot of family problems. We do make exceptions. I almost typically never, ever downgrade because of extensions that are needed for extenuating circumstances. But please, let's reserve that for truly needed cases, because with only a 6-week time frame, if you start delaying and delaying, things are going to get very bad by week 4 or 5, and then 6, and then the final is there. So please, let's use those sparingly, a day or 2 extra if you're having a deadline at work or whatever, sick baby at home. Absolutely, we make exceptions and extensions for that. But let's try and keep things very professional. We have deadlines at work. I have drop dead deadlines all the time. If I have a grant that's due, it's due then. If I have a presentation that's due, it's due then. So you know what those extensions are like, what those deadlines are like. So let's try and keep it very professional. Okay? Good. We're doing a very nice exercise also then in week 2 when we start talking about mitigation. Here's where we talk about a wonderful topic called risk perception. And here we're doing this exercise on the dread factor. The dread factor scale was developed many years ago, and it's fascinating to me how people perceive certain hazards. We're all a little bit different. We've added some new stuff this term, so we'll have a little bit of fun with that. Then on week 3, we get into preparedness. And here we have just some very nice things, especially in terms of our interviews. As I said, we have these wonderful people who were so generous, and these people are super high up in their organizations, and they gave us their valuable time and were willing to tell us about what they do and how they do it. And by the way, all of these places, with the exception, I think, of Alex Caresi, all of them told us about internships. Some of them are paid, some are unpaid. Some of them are at the CRED, which is in Geneva. You'll see that it'll come up right away early on with Debarati Gupta. And they have both paid and unpaid, but they are in Geneva. They work closely with the WHO. What a wonderful opportunity that would be if anyone has that available time to go and spend. And they typically like people there at least for 6 months because it takes them a while to train them up. But wouldn't that be a great opportunity if your life is in such a place that you could pick yourself up and go live in Geneva for a few months? I would love to do it. Then we move on to response in week 4, and then we quickly get into recovery in week 5. Here's where we talk quite a bit about memorialization, the role of the arts in helping people heal, and how does that relate to resiliency, building resiliency, because obviously the better the recovery, the quicker the recovery, the more resilient the community, and vice versa. The more resilient the community is, the more apt they are to recover quickly. So that's an interesting week. And then we have week 6 where we talk about the non-governmental and governmental response agencies. Here's where we talk a little bit about volunteers, donations, that sort of thing, how you recruit volunteers, take care of them. So we have a lot to cover in this course. But it's a fascinating topic. I hope you enjoy it. I'm sure you'll have a wonderful time. The students seem to really like it. I know I really enjoy it. I love meeting each and every one of you. I'll be meeting with all of you in this first week we call week 0. Right before we start, we get off to a nice place so we can quickly get into the material. The more I know about you and what your interests are and what your background is, the easier it is for me to help steer you towards certain topics, and also to try and tailor the material as much as I can. I don't like to add too much, but as things happen, and in our field, things happen every day. So we have this kind of breaking news forum where we keep adding material as the days and the weeks go by. So I look forward to, again, meeting all of you, and looking forward tremendously to seeing your work products. I know it's going to be a great term. I'm always here. You have access to me all the time. We have 2 wonderful TAs that are helping us this term, Esme and Chi, and they're always available, and we're here to help you every way we can. Let's go out there now and do the best we can, and looking forward to seeing and hearing from you all. Thanks so much. Bye.